Talus among the dogwood, and it trembles. Beyond the tiger lily and ancient rock, and its chiseled face bare, we are ruptured, we are dislodged, memories captured, compressed in snow melt, sun pushing inward, water pushed toward earth. Even on this day, even in this breath, I can feel this return. I can feel this lingering emptiness. I feel as the long burn serves missive from the meadows. A typography of flame reaches out to a withered parchment of skin. Yes, today, even today, the core is blue and it is sustaining, and we watch within as we dance through this summer. Consider bends in light scraping gentian and Valyrian. Consider the mythology of escape, talus and scree. Here, it's here. With survival breath accompanying sweat, and now, it's now. I am inhaling and exhaling. Be it too soon, we are still arriving through breath. Around a corner, a plunge to reach a sacred bottom. There are ruins beneath that bring more questions. Aquatic trauma accompanying divinity. It extends onward through the shallows, through the dusk. Forever its linger. Forever I can hear it calling in rush and awe. Liquid and its green signals and gray patterns. Submerge meets emerge. A single trillium withering purple and brown. There is the glance backward. Memories zoom back to the bounty and its precedent. Back to the glacial. An Olympics poem. Return over shoulders creak and creaks hush. Stone array to elevate the difference. Of loss. Tales of those coming up onto the shores, clambering through climate and its migrants holding breaths, holding sighs. Tiptoes through preservation, pounces across ravaged remains, past stances of their former shadows. When the movement settles, I dream. I dream in old peaks and past voices, echoes ongoing or spidery hallucinations. Those whose bodies gave in and gave us their space, talismans of forgotten roads, paths, holding grounds. I dream in ruinous life and the blanket of limbs in the ruins, barely hanging on, barely hearing, barely breathing as it spreads. Smoke's wisps rolling through the night, dawn's facade a grimace and enough. Pools of blood clotted in yellowing smoke light, pools of dried blood glyphic and perpetual, the vicissitude within a warren alive. Memories of moonlight, dictation, and commands of survival, morphing across realities we continue to open. Opened eyes after twisted keys, pressing in and finding the next. In this land of drought, and my own ragged, wagging tongue, dangling like a peace treaty around my chin, I invite the re-emerged in a mess of light. I dream, and I invite languages of breaking and mending, more clusters, more shapes of us, birthing a glance of another sequence. Come, join us until we crumble. Thank you all for being here. This is the View.Point event. and I want to take a moment to acknowledge that we are on Duwamish land and Coast Salish land, the land that is here immediately and the land that is around us. I also want to recognize that this land was built with indentured labor, slave labor, unpaid labor and underpaid labor, the labor of women, and the labor of migrants who are here and have been continued to be criticized and condemned even to this day. I invite you to ponder this as we move forward through the performances, and the performances will be quite a few actually. So first we will have Jim O'Halloran open the event, and then we will have Khiang Hei, who will be doing some movement stuff, and then we will hear some works from Paul Nelson and Justine Chan, and then we'll close with Jim again. So I turn it over to Jim.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I'd like to read poems from several different series I'm working on. The most immediate one is the 15th year of the Poetry Postcard Fest. And this is my 1000th poem in a series of postcard poems.
What?
And when I do, and I had to make it kind of a big deal, and it's a 1000th poem, so I had to put some thought into it and make it a little more, make it a little bigger, and then not mail it right away. So it's been several days since I wrote this. But I wrote this on a piece of cardboard, and I took VJ Ayer's new album cover, Uneasy, and I did that, and then I added some stuff to it, like a whale and an astronaut with a coastal Salish feather, and a Michael McClure quote, and some script from the Eco-Sangat service. May this merit extend universally to all, including the great earth, so that we may together with all beings realize the Buddha way. So this poem went out to Nan Leah Mick. Well, it hasn't gone out yet. It will go out to Nan Leah Mick of Shelton, Washington. And this year we're honoring Michael McClure and Diane DePrima, who both died last year. Diane DePrima actually did the Postcard Fest in year 2. So this poem is based on the epigraph by Michael McClure. I got the hummingbirds sneeze, but the Holy Grail got no place at all. First 2 tunes on Uneasy, Children of Flint and Combat Breathing, and surely the Holy Grail got a place in Flint, Michigan. Surely we have the technology to replace pipes, keep clean the Huron water, keep free the breath via Zen or yoga or Bojeko, so no more kids catch the lead from any off or on-duty cop's revolver. CRTs, but one salvo VJ knows with his weaponized piano in the land of the free, where power shouldn't come from the barrel of a gun. I'll pass this around. I encourage you to sniff it. Bhakti says I put too much scent on, so I'm trying to learn how to let it. So I'm going to read some poems from another series called Flexible Mind. These are based on a Michael McClure poem, Flexible Mind. And Jim's going to accompany me again on flute. This is an elegy for Chick Corea called We Miss You Already, Chick Corea. We miss you already, Chick Corea, now that you've entered the crystal silence without Gary Burton. Nobody was more open, more finely tuned to the moment. He who played with you'd say. The Lost Quintet just lost their pianist. Now he sings, now he swings. Senor Mouse, the house band in heaven just got that more badass. How an 18-year-old kid stumbled into your Chicago Fest duet, Mercy. Between the maple leaf and the cornflower murmurs the afternoon, said Paul Gaultier. Or was it Basil Bunting? Same afternoon murmur lurks between breaths. No hankering, no vexation, no apathy, nothing besides this nothingness festooning the walls, as if it were Roy Henry Vickers' teacher, the Kingfisher, or the full Tofino moon, or another rose breath. Local Flexible Mind's a wholly owned subsidiary of Non-Local Mind, a division of the Patience Project, whose rituals include rescuing or burying hummingbirds, raising 2 single children, admiring and savoring the speed limit, and letting the lake guide your control pause. The water at any time capable of hypnosis, capable of returning you to the endlessly flexible launch realm of black plasma and imagination, that festoons all this planning, these intricate, endless bylaws discussions that stand in the way of Kaze no Mori and Hamachikama. Peace, Toko Shinoda. 107 years of abstract elegance, sudden as a mountain rainstorm. And a birthday poem for the Rabbit Queen at 68. Not just flexible mind, but flexible, you know, smelling like Nag Champa soap, taking refuge in Rumi cards, stamping rabbit images, indulging in coffee, shortbread cookies, Power Sun wine, and order. Rabbits behind her on her BNI Zoom call will gnaw on a box brunch, and everything is so perfect. No dishes in the sink. Anwar Brahem on the box. Garden eggs and German seed bread toast made by a Frenchman before the sky opens as one more jewel she manifests. Bhakti, what a beautiful name, the dog walker and new friend says to this high-class woman who has a place for every plant, whose smiling eyes are elfish, whose every graceful movement says, mercy. Now I'll do one last poem from my book, A Time Before Slaughter. So Slaughter is the original name of Auburn, Washington, and they named it after Lieutenant William Alloway Slaughter, so it became sort of a trope. It's a man, it's a town, and it's also a way of doing business, and I think we saw that during the Trump years. That's hardcore slaughterism, and I think we're transcending it. I'm hopeful we're transcending it. So this is the last poem in the first book. This got recently, during the pandemic, during the lockdown last year, got released, so I'll probably have a reading whenever the COVID thing is finally over. By the way, I have an American sentence about that. 17-syllable poem. Can't have herd immunity in this country because people are animals. So that's a 17-syllable poem about COVID written in May. But I'm going to read this poem. It's the last elegy, and it's the last part of the first edition of this book. This is the second edition. And this is written after Duino elegies, Rilke, and George Barring's Carousdale elegies. Number 10. After summer rain, angels would trample the wet grounds outside the carnival of glands, and yet dead poets always get the last word. Perhaps time sweetens with each deeply felt elegy. We see their picture as if they'd live forever, the day before the Times writes their obit. It is the rare July angled rain can eat northwest faces shudder what's left of the white blossoms who refuse to complain about their well-timed descent. Unlike Slaughter, the trees, the Nootka rose, wild ginger, sitka, columbine, dogwood, Indian paintbrush, the fireweed remain neutral, whole, like Tahoma does. The resonance of every step and waits patient for us to honor our greed. Inside in silence, except for Friday night car tires humming on wet road, below the sound waves of earth cutting through space, underneath the dimmest constellation and the sound of the lonely night's last freight train horn, dead poets pose as angels. Send metaphors for your verse. Remind you the whole world's alive inside that green wheel spinning in your chest. Making a mandala of spent matches from lit prayer candles and pink rose blossoms offered to the lady. You are only a reflection of the skill your parents had in the lightning flash that became you and for which you yearn to return, endlessly checking the weather forecast while the stuck river rolls beyond the spot of diversion. You get a hernia as your marriage falls apart, or your nose bleeds for recognition. But the grace saving you is the extraordinary patience of dead poets. Dead poets in the garden scaring raccoons. Dead poets animating the cat's eyes for a moment, moving molecules to drop white blossoms for your amusement. Dead poets caught in your throat in the fetal position, like latent antepasados, turning the last blood fire burn into your richest, deepest song. Sunlight's headed south now, faster than the cat can comprehend, makes the tips of stuck waves more white, animates coyote's smile. lubricates the stunts of stellar jays, keeps light shining on slaughter, not waiting for better weather. And a poet you knew will become that light, or that latent angel, or that force moving molecules to amuse your evening walk faster than your aging synapses can flash across their gap. He who could live beyond the last parenthesis. She who could hold fire in her hand. He who makes better weather for those who honor their ancestral land. She who marks the northwest July sun's closing arson, orange, and apricot rays in skin, blood fire, and melted wax. She who taps the never-ending flow can withstand every parlor trick slaughter could ever conjure, with a rare commitment to every blossoming every species has ever known.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jim, Khiang, Paul, for sharing this space and having such a joyful event. I'm really honored to be here. Alright, this one is called Wailing. This will, and inside its mouth was your name, and I still let it go, 'cause I have always known. You know you met me once, when we were both fragile young. You know you couldn't stop being so curious. You just knew how to get lost, the tank bears down on your lost. And the day you became the sailor, you forgot where you came from. And I recall this whale, and inside its mouth was a name, and I still let it go, 'cause I have always You never wrote me letters that could read the first sentence, so I drove my pickup truck along the coast, thinking you were dead. Have you seen an albatross? Do you collect animals in art? And did you see the cannibal kings? And inside its mouth was your name. the melody first and then put words on it. And this one does not have words, it resists.
and I wrote it in Colorado last year. And it took, the last song you just heard, it took me like years, I think, to write that song. And then this one, it also took me like a year to figure out what this song was about.
first dries down. I always thought you'd be some small town, hometown hero, but I like you better this way. Come on over, all the way down Palomino. Life would be different if I just sang in that spring show. I didn't need to cry there on your porch. I had no words. They told us wrong. They told us wrong. They told us everything and everything was wrong. I told you wrong. I told you wrong. I told you I miss you. And even nothing wrong. I know it's wrong, but I can't help. Oh baby, answer yourself. I know it's wrong, but I can't help. Oh baby, run over. I know it's dumb, but I can't help. Will you miss the prairie? I know it's wrong, but I can't help Colorado, build it up too big and we can never go. Still driving in circles round the cornfields. That was my favorite. I never all the way down Palomino. Is it just me or did your dreams fill with smoke? Always dismissed as stupid millennials.
Thank you everyone for being here. Jim O'Halloran, everyone. And Khiang Hei.